Alright, so today I want to raise the awareness about Hell's Paradise. I started this anime with high hopes, but to be honest with you, it didn't disappoint. The first 12 episodes were really actually hooking, and I went straight in the manga after the end. Like, this is one of the anime that I went straight to the manga after the anime ended, so I guess this is a real. Like, I went with the expectation, like, I went to the manga with really high expectations. And to be honest, it didn't disappoint there as well. Like, sure, I will rant about it in some areas, but let's just continue. The manga is around 127 chapters, and to be honest with you, the story kind of gets disappointing starting from chapters 80 to 90 ish, I believe. But now, do not watch this video because it isn't spoiler free, and if you want to keep watching the anime, then please skip this video. But let's just go back to the rant. Now, even though it does get a little bit confusing or disappointing after chapters 80 to 90, it again kind of gets back its pace within the 100th or the 110th chapter because the main fight starts there again. In the middle, like you're gonna find the plot, the arc where they actually fight all the Tencents. Okay, I'm just going into this video straight with the assumption that you have watched the anime or you're actually currently watching it or in the middle of watching it. So just kind of bear with me. So in the middle of this manga era, between chapter to 80 or 90, it's actually not before, like between 80 or 90, I think it was before 80 or 90, within like the 50th to 70th chapter, the entire arc goes on. Like the only island, like like the criminals like Yuzuriha and then like Sagiri and all others, Gabimaru fighting the Tencent, kind of like with the dying battle, right? And just Shogun just kind of showed up in the island, like that's how it kind of starts off. And then it was kind of all pointless because again the story kind of wraps up where that wasn't probably the main plan of the Tencents and kind of they get regenerated. So we're just gonna go into that in just a sec. Now, to simply explain this, entire story is actually pretty simple. Gabimaru and Saki are the main protagonists, along with five other criminals till the very end. It does start off with a lot of characters, but again, it's just sliced off. They come to this mysterious island where they uncovered the elixir of life known as the Outer Way of Tan, which is being cultivated and experimented by Tencents. They say that humans are the main catalysts, and after all the battle using Chobi as the main catalyst to cultivate what Rin calls the perfect Han, he sets up on a ship to convert humans to flowers using the Tan. Now, obviously, Rin is stopped before he can make it, and then the whole story is really packed into this entire island very nicely, all right? Like, very concisely, and it's a very nice and good story, and also very unique compared to most other shonen anime, right? Like because it's set in this very short map that it kind of makes it very different from all the other shonens that you can actually watch. Like most of the shonens in 2020, if starting from 2021, 2023, most of them. Now, after the anime, we start reading from chapter 44, and the story is nicely paced. Shugen and the other ninjas set sail to the island, and meanwhile, Sakuri and the others are trying to recoup with Gabimaru. The chapters then continue between the fight of Gabimaru and Chobe, and later Sagi uniting with Gabi, and Mei telling everyone that there is something wrong with Gabimaru's Tao. I'm gonna skip on the most of the details that's been told in the anime because I think you can probably just watch it. And now after this, the story progresses slightly. And after this point is when things begin to get really confusing to the point it feels that the story is kind of rushed, and although it still seems to have a proper ending, it's properly paced, it's properly paced and it's nicely set, like it's sensible, but it just feels like the pacing is way too fast and also really confusing because you kind of get introduced to a lot of these terms like Tao, Tan, and all these kind of Chinese mythologies, or I don't know if it's a Chinese mythology or it's made up, but I'm just assuming that it's some sort of Chinese mythology that it starts to get a little bit hectic to kind of go and read it. Now, I only read it once because I really didn't have the patience to kind of go over it again and again, but it just starts to get a lot hectic after that point. And it's a really awesome ending where everyone kind of gets everything they wanted. The end result is a power system that encourages teamwork and switches the roles on that team around depending on the opponent rather than just focusing on pure power levels. And that's really interesting because, and again, they kind of really cope up themselves. They kind of really learn to work with each other and then kind of they kind of superimpose their Taos and see which one kind of gives them that in-phase situation where kind of their Taos are actually helping each other out and they need to be like of the same kind so that kind of so that they can kind of heal themselves using their teammates, and then they also need to be on the opposite kind with the Tencents so that they can kind of like deliver the maximum damage because Tencents are actually capable of regenerating themselves. This has also led to some beautiful and unique moments in the entire series when, like, Gabimaru both literally and metaphorically boosted Yuzuya up during their fight against their Tensen, and how a relatively weak Tao user like Sagiri was the key to defeating a much more powerful opponent like Rin at the end. Now, I gotta be pretty honest with you. Like, I really like Sagiri's character. Like, she's the one like is kind of like tries really hard, but in the end, she's just like a power. Like, she's not that powerful, right? Like, you gotta be honest with yourself when watching this anime. She's not that powerful, and then she acting up like she's gonna be Gabimaru's. Like from the very beginning of the anime, you kind of get that feeling that yeah, even though she's like Gabimaru's guide, and then like whatnot, she's the assignment assigned to Gabimaru to kind of like execute him if something goes wrong or if it does something wrong. You kind of gotta agree that like in Sagiri's current state, even till the end of the entire anime, like even though she kind of develops and gets stronger, she isn't capable or she isn't the one who can actually kill Gabimaru, right? Like because skilled shinobi from Gabimaru's own village kind of later show up, and then they are even not capable of kind of killing Gabimaru. So like, what's Sagiri going to do at this point? So it was a really kind of nice touch to it and a great dynamic that like Sagiri got to kind of give one of the finishing blows in the entire anime. That really shows like how the writer actually thought about this. The dynamic of Shugen between respecting the rules of the Simon clan and also approving his friends and the master's action, and like his masters, like I think there's only one senior like sensei of Shugen in the entire field. I think it was Shion, of joining their hands with the criminals also pushes to show that one like it kind of shows that one stubborn character in every single show who goes to any extent to follow the rules. Shugen even killed his dear friend Fuchi, and to be honest, I kind of like Fuchi a lot. He might look messed up in the head, and but he just technically was a surgeon who really loved his friends dearly. He wanted everyone in that island to survive. And then like I that was actually one of the saddest moments in the entire anime. And then this rascal Shugen kind of goes on to say that all right, like don't worry, Fuchi lives inside of me, and then I'm gonna his tactic, his powers to like defeat Gantetsu-san. So I think, like, I don't know. I feel like Shugen is like one of the most messed up characters in this entire show. Like, he's powerful enough and whatnot, but I just feel like he's like gotta be like, like the messed up character in this entire show. Well, like I would call him the worst character by far. It just is my opinion because I just don't like him as a person. If like if I got to meet someone in real life like that. Gabimaru also seems to have a complicated past, where his real name is never told, and he's just told the title, and he's just like holds the title Gabimaru, given to the most powerful shinobi in Iwakagure. The ninja were only sent along with Shugen so they could fight Gabi and take the title Gabimaru. Gabimaru also seemed to have, one devoted follower, Shija, where they also and like kind of they fight each other till Shija dies, and that's like one of the saddest moments. And I'm not going to go into the details about Shija and Gabimaru's past because it's clearly portrayed in the manga, and they didn't seem to be like friends, but it does show that Gabimaru really helped Shija like I don't know if it's a he or a she because at this point like Shija shows that like I'm just gonna call Shija like Shija actually loved Gabimaru a lot, right? But that love, I don't know if it was as a devoted like he wanted to follow him or if like Shija was actually a girl. Like I probably need to Google it up. But Shija dies in the end. And like it really goes to show that Gabimaru really cared about Shija's training and kind of he helped Shija to every extent, to every point. Isn't revealed that the village chief only sent the entire shinobi to make sure that Gabimaru hasn't changed as a person. And seeing how Gabimaru was dedicated to meeting his wife and Gabimaru didn't change for the sole purpose that or I'm just gonna kind of go through my ninja instincts till I meet my wife, right? Like it kind of goes to that extent. Shija tells him that his wife is actually real. Like in the beginning, Shija was like, "All right, no, this is just a ninjutsu. You're in this delusion. I mean, genjutsu, I think. Yeah, so whatever. I'm not familiar with this ninja thingy. I gotta watch Naruto again. But kind of Shija then tells him that okay, don't worry. Like this is just like not a genjutsu. Your wife is there. She's alive and she's well. And then she just tells him that his wife is waiting for him while, signaling to all the other shinobis. Like that's I think the last Nippon or Ni I don't know if it's called Nippon or something. Whatever. So before performing the last, genjutsu to all of the shinobi, and and signals every other shinobi to kind of commit suicide, indicating that the mission has ended. All right, like this is very sad. And then Shija requests Gabimaru that if they're probably reincarnated or something like that, Gabimaru should actually kill Shija or people like Shija every single time, right? And then Gabimaru's like, yeah, sure. I will. Like this kind of shows that Gabimaru also made some sort of friends or friendship between, like the eras when Gabimaru was training or like made friends during his and their childhood. So it really shows that Gabimaru had some humanity left because the entire story is plotted in that way and shows how Gabimaru changed from that, kind of cold-hearted ninja, that cold-hearted shinobi who like kind of wanted to give up on life and then no, yeah, Gabimaru wants to actually live like a normal human, just like his wife ever told him. Because that's like when he first met his wife Yui, it was the first time Gabimaru actually felt that the humanitarian being inside him kind of rise up. Then the story finally ends while everyone forges to defeat Rain. In the end, a child version of Guifa show up to them, revealing he saw the real Rain's body rotting away while the Rain on the ship was actually the wife of Jofuku, who was the one who actually created the island and made its sole purpose of like kind of cultivating this Tao and Tan in order to kind of like become immortal or something. And then it's also very interesting to see that May was the main catalyst who actually helped them reach Rain's ship. Right? It's really interesting because these characters looking powerless and only there just for like let's say show or maybe kind of for information or tactical purposes, actually showing up and then kind of contributing to the real fight. Because this is the only anime, not actually the only anime, but all right, I would just go for it to say this is the one of the only anime where I've seen that every single character kind of gets a touch of, the screen time, right? Because you go to animes like Blue Lock where you have Ikaguri, right? Like, or Ikaguri, I forgot his name. But you gotta go to this point and you come across these sort of characters where they're just purely there for show and they're kind of annoying, right? Because you know that they're not capable of doing anything good, at least to at some extent or to that point. But again, they're still there somehow just kind of lingering behind. The fight's final blow are set by Mei, Sagiri, Gabimaru, and Shugen himself. Now, initially, Shugen might have gotten the beating, but Gantetsu made him understand that that wasn't the point of giving up. And Shugen had already drunk a bit of the elixir of life, so he was probably on the verge of death, and he was actually about to become, that flower thingy, which the anime refers to as Arborify or Aborify. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure, but we're just gonna call it arborify, right? Like becoming that flower thingy, becoming one with Tan. And then Sagiri, as I've already mentioned, also played an important role in killing Rain at the end when Shugen sliced the body of Jofuku as Gagimaru, nice. As Gabimaru struggled at the last moment to kill the arborified body. And then the story kind of concludes where they decide only Gantetsusai should get the pardon and everyone will walk their own paths while telling the shogun that everyone else had perished on the island. Gabimaru meets his wife and the story gets the perfect ending where like kind of everything happily concludes. All this sacrifice in the past like 4 years. Wow. In the past 4 to 5 days and nights on the island, I think it was around 5 nights they spent in the island, but it's never specifically said. It's only said in once that it's been 3 days when they arrived at the island and there were like tons of losses of life, and it seemed to be finally over and even worth it as it is depicted by Gabimaru, who is sound asleep and living with his wife when Sagiri and Yuzuriha comes to visit them. And the anime, I mean, the entire manga finally ends with this 2-page panel. I think it was only 1 page. It was only a single page panel where the city has entered into modernity. Like they've like entered into this modern city. Like everything's been updated. Gabimaru and the Asaimons and everyone has probably died of old age. And we see that Mei has somehow reincarnated. Every single one of the Tensons. Not every single one of the Tensons. I think only one of the Tensons. I don't know who is it. I think it's probably Rain because Mei was his wife, I believe, or something like that. And only Rain seems to have been kind of kind of reincarnated, and everyone is like kind of being reincarnated in the process because Rain mentions that Taufa and Jufa have technically sprouted. So they're still Tensen, but I think they have actually gone into living their own lives, living like a family. And this is really metaphorically like it's very nice to see that every single one, even the Tensons, who were actually the main enemy, are now living that happy life that everyone wished. Like, even the Asaimons, even Gabimaru, even Gantetsusai, every one of them, the Aza brothers, like Chobi and I don't know, Toma, I think that was his name. And then it's also seen in the modern day. I think Rain is taking a class online, and then May kind of comes and visits him and says that Taufa and Jufa have sprouted. And we still see that May is still in the child form, and Rain wishes that everyone kind of progresses the same way and they could live happily ever after. So this is an anime that I'm excited about season two. It's a pretty short video. I couldn't script it properly because it was pretty busy throughout the weeks. But I think I'm really excited for season two, which is probably going to come out in 2024, sometime in 2024. The exact date hasn't been announced, but I think in Jump Fiesta, in the past 2 or 3 weeks ago, like I don't know when Jump Fiesta, depending on when this video goes live, Jump Fiesta took place 2 days ago, and then it was announced that Hell's Paradise is going to be getting a season two. Again, it's going to be animated by Mappa, but we just still don't know when the date is going to come. But I really think like that this anime should get the season two, and it shouldn't be delayed like Fire Force or any other anime. But it's one of the favorites of 2023, to be very honest. But again, the season one of the anime, like with the 13 episodes, is a really an introductory phase to the anime. Like we don't see that much about it. Like the story still needs to sprout, right? Like it's still in the bud stage, or the flower is still about to bloom. So we still need to kind of get, or at least when you give the anime a watch after the 13 episodes, don't give up. That's what I want to tell or portray through this video. You shouldn't give up after watching, season one, because season one feels really incomplete. Like 13 episodes isn't going to cut it. Like I would have said that Mappa, like if anyone's working at Mappa watching this video, probably like this among the 450 people watching this video, if you are actually working at Mappa, next time make around 24 episodes, or at least make more episodes to make any anime conclusive, right? Because this anime, this first season, really, really is incomplete, and anyone watching this might actually get bored and never touch the manga. But the reason why I touched the manga is because, like, I don't know, it just clicked that this story is going to be a nice story, and I ended up reading the entire manga. And just wait for season two. All right, if you've watched the entire video, probably already know half of the story. Then give the manga a read, or just wait for the next season, because you watch season one and then you really are gonna like the rest of the season. But season one is just incomplete at this stage, right? It's not a fulfilling ending to the anime for the season or the 13 episodes that's already been out, because it only tells like around the first 10% or 20% of the story. There's more to uncover, and I'm gonna be waiting for it. And yeah, that's it for this video. See you next time. Peace.